Hey guys, today I'm going to explain to you why I bought an investment house at 21 years old. So mind you, I'm actually 24 years old right now, so I have 3 years of experience in this, and I believe I'm in a much better spot for sharing this with you. So I'm going to explain to you this, and hopefully by the end of this video I would have educated you or at least changed your perspective if you're on the fence about investment properties. So I'm going to start with a backstory, explain my life situation, some financial information, and rental benefits of my decision. So first up, the backstory. It was 2014 and I had recently graduated college and gotten into my first grown-up job. Yes. I was living at home and I had originally wanted a new car upon graduating college. People my age were getting into their own really cool cars like Mustangs, Camaros, WRXs, BMW 328s. Yep, the typical new graduate type cars. Toward the tail end of 2014, I had saved about $30,000 from working. I had scraped together and all this, and this was enough to pay for the car that I had wanted in full. I graduated with $25,000 in student loan debt in the popular field. I made decent money at the time, and I wasn't concerned about my $50 a month student loan payment at the time. So I was eyeing a pre-owned Dodge Challenger, a Mustang, and even Audi A8 and Mercedes S-Classes, well, used ones of course. And to complete my backstory, the biggest driver in pushing me towards the house was actually my dad. During my search for this shiny new car, he flat out said that, "Edward, you should buy a property instead, or at least look into it." He had properties himself and some experience, so of course, I learned. From there, I did some research and the property idea was like inception. It really grew on me. So now I'm going to explain to you why. I'm going to talk about my life situation in this part. So I wanted a car. I felt the rush of emotion, but I had to think differently though. Did I want instant gratification or did I want wealth? Did I want to get as many Facebook or Instagram likes at the expense of missing out on an opportunity of a lifetime? Well, I was driving a perfectly good car at the time, an old paid-off sedan, and it took me from A to B reliably. And at the time, I was looking for a car. I rented different cars to figure out what I had liked. But I wasn't really dead set on a particular vehicle at the time. So I had to think a little bit deeper because this is the car I'd be driving for a while. So these feelings of owning a car really put me in a what-if scenario down the road, especially with the depreciation and all. I could feel the buyer's remorse from a depreciated value of a car that I bought and I'd have nowhere to run because I'd be upside down on the car. I needed more time to think to buy the right car. I had researched the cost of owning these cars that I had wanted. Given my 21-year-old age at the time, I found the car both expensive and just plain crazy to insure and maintain. So I was looking at about $300 a month just on insurance alone, $550 a month in the car payment, $300 in gas, and at least $100 a month in maintenance. So that was $1,250 for a shiny dream car every single month. Not to mention that beautiful dream car would have lost a lot of money in depreciation today. I was sitting on $30,000 in savings. This amount of cash was enough to meet a 25% down payment. This is key, guys, 25%. This could get me into an appreciating asset, a house, rather than a depreciating liability, which is that car. I followed up on my conversations with my dad and I had some more conversations. And my research led me to see that the housing market was still in the stage of rebounding. Year 2012 was the lowest point, and year 2014, the house prices started to go up a little bit. So I found that this would be a benefit for me. There were some tax benefits and some other things, and decided, hey, this is the opportunity to invest. So basically, I jumped over my emotions, and I wasn't willing to pay those huge car expenses. I had the money, so I decided, let's focus on building wealth. So now I'm going to introduce you to the house and the financial impact. So I realized I would be able to buy a house at a historically low point. At the time, this was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-bedroom, 2-car garage house that sold for less than $115,000 in the Las Vegas area. the area that I was looking at the time. It was recently renovated, centrally located, and in a low crime area. Every house in the city had some great appreciation potential. And to show you how much potential, I checked my house value today in 2018, and the local comps are going for $175,000 for that particular house that I bought. So guys, this is home equity because the house I bought was $115,000. This is $175,000. That's $60,000 in buffer. Whatever's remaining from that becomes cash that can go straight back into my pocket. So that is huge. Meanwhile, I realized that the car that I would have bought at $30,000 would have lost over 50% of its value in that same time frame. Financially, I didn't have any other payments at the time, like a car payment, so my debt-to-income ratio was also lower than if I had a car payment. So this, along with my down payment, made the difference in buying a house. Now, the rental aspect of things, you may be thinking about house payment and all that stuff. So this is the part where I got you guys. I'm going to pull out some calculators and budgeting. This is the part where I found the best case scenario. Someone would pay the house for me, and I'd make just a little bit of money. Now, on the flip side, you have the worst case scenario. It would be a low monthly payment for me, and I'd still be able to pay for it. So, for example, this house was $115,000. After adding in my down payment of 25%, a 15-year loan, which it would come up to $700 a month, and a 30-year loan would be around $300 or $360 a month for like a 30-year loan. And then after the house is paid off, I'd get to pocket that whole amount that would have went to the loan. The rental income on the house was $900 a month, with potential for raises every few years. The expenses on the house over the couple of years are like this: $700 a month on the mortgage, including the principal, interest, tax, and insurance. Aside from this, $30 a month on utilities, $50 a month in repairs, 10% of the rent on property management expenses. And then there's also the tax benefits. I actually paid less than 10% income tax on that rental income, once I factor in the amortization, interest, property management, repairs, and even travel to Vegas. So that's pretty cool. Furthermore, in the rental perspective, additional income is additional buying power. So if you're a high-risk investor, like a couple of people that some people may follow on YouTube, they really use this equity and extra income as buying power to push their portfolio onward and upward. But for me, I'm going to be a bit more conservative on this, and I'm not going to throw myself into what I know I can't pay for. So I had broken down all the income, expenses, and the appreciation potential, and I found, hey, this is what I'm willing to live with. So to recap, I'm going to leave you with 4 final points on this investment property decision. I was flipping back and forth on a car. The car was an ego thing for me, and I would have changed given that I probably would have bought the wrong car. I wasn't willing to pay the high expenses and huge depreciation in return. So that's number 1. Number 2, I was in the right place and the right time financially for the investment property. I got into a pretty good job, pretty good career. I could afford the property if I needed, in the worst case scenario. Now in the best case scenario, I got tax benefits, little to no out-of-pocket ongoing expenses, and wealth building possibilities that sealed the deal for me. Number 3, I found more worth in buying the property than buying the car, because depreciation and all these other things and wealth building that I wanted to focus on. So number 4, my final point, I do not regret buying this investment property because of this gained value and experience. So if you ask me again, yes, I would definitely do it once again, and I'm pretty glad I did. So I'd like to shout out my dad. Thank you for pushing me this way. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you next video. Bye.